Hello there, people of the internet. So I was given another No4Mk1 to check out from a buddy of mine. I am borrowing this rifle. It is not mine, but he's letting me borrow rifles and different various firearms in order to make videos on. But he let me borrow his No4Mk1 because I wanted to take a look at one and compare it to the one that I actually have. The one I have is what Forgotten Weapons referred to as a last-ditch rifle, meaning like a lot of it was simplified and whatnot. And he has what also looks like a mid-war model, but not quite as simplified as the one that I have. The biggest determining factor that made me want to look at this rifle is the fact that we still have the rear sights on it. My rifle, it just has a little 2-peg flip-up notch rear sight, and you know, it's an aperture sight. We have 2 different settings on it, 300 and 600 yards on it, versus this rear sight, which is way more complex and way more difficult to manufacture than the little flip-up sights that I have. I'm going to assume that this is like a 1943 production rifle. We have nothing written on the receiver band. That's what I'm calling this right here, or stock band, or there's several different names I've seen these things called. But normally there's some sort of writing or designations or something on these rifles right here on this band that connects the stock to the receiver. And on this rifle, there is literally nothing. I do not know the year of production. All it says on the side of the rifle is No4Mk1, then there's an F, and then we have a bunch of numbers under that. It's all pencil, like pencil marked too. Whenever you, it's not whenever you stamp something into metal, it's whenever you use like an electric pencil and you physically write it in with your hand. The receiver and everything, all the metal work on this thing is extraordinarily crude, but we still have cuts in the upper handguard, we still have our rear sight, we still have all the little tidbits that tells me that this is not a point in the war where Britain is, you know, oh God, here come the Germans, we need guns, we need them now. They were still, they didn't have the gun stripped down to its bare minimums like my No4Mk1 is. So I'm out here at the range. I'm gonna send a couple of rounds down range. I've never fired from a No4Mk1 that had a different aperture sight than the one that I have. The aperture sight on this one is much wider than the aperture sight that I have on my rifle. I am willing to bet that I'll be able to use this sight better with my poor eyesight, that nice wide ghost ring sight. I should be able to make shots off pretty easily. Now 303 British ammunition is quite a deal difficult to find, and whenever you do find it, it is pretty expensive. Not a whole lot of it floating around right now because No4Mk1s and No1Mk3s and various Enfield models were recently imported into the country by the truckload. And everybody who bought one of these rifles also bought some ammunition, and that greatly diminished the supply. So I'm just going to load up a couple of 303 rounds, send them downrange, see how this rifle runs, see how it feels. I imagine it's going to be pretty damn similar to my No4Mk1. Our front barrel band, or mid-barrel band, I guess. Our mid-barrel band is a little on the loose side. I tried tightening it, but you know, somewhere in the past 80 years, somebody had cross-threaded the screw into the threads on the other side of the barrel band, so it's very much stuck, and this is not my rifle, so I'm going to go ahead and not try to unstick that. I have no idea how long it's been since this thing's fired, as a matter of fact, just because this is a firearm that I have not shot before. I'm just going to double check real quick, make sure there's no barrel obstructions. Alright, look down the barrel real quick. Oh no, we're fine. Wow, that is a immaculate barrel. My goodness. That thing's could easily be considered a 90%. This thing has definitely not seen a hard life at all. Okay, now hopefully the headspace on this rifle is alright. I don't see why it wouldn't be, especially considering it hasn't been shot very much, but let's go ahead, send a round down range, and we're going to see if the rifle explodes first off, and we're going to see what the brass looks like afterwards. Well, we're firing steel case ammo, but we're going to see what the case looks like afterwards. She fired, she's accurate. Not a whole lot of recoil on this one, just like my other No1. We do have a little bit of a bulged primer, but it's far from bad, not all that concerning. There we go. A little bit of a magazine malfunction there. Let's send another round down range. That was neat. Let's see what this one looks like. We do have consistent bulge primers, but like I said, nothing all that concerning. This cheap Wolf steel case ammunition oftentimes has issues. We're also having some feeding issues with this magazine here. Hey, you son of a bitch. 303 British is expensive. Give me my round. Alright. Well, we made all of our hits on target. Okay, what does this look like? Yep, same story. Little bit of a bulge primer, but far from concerning. Alright, now that I've ran some rounds through it, yeah, very similar to my number 4 Mark 1. Rear sight, like I said, that's the only real difference that I'm noticing. Rifle balances the same way. I'm also pretty sure that this is not an original strap, just a hunch. But fundamentally, this is very similar to mine. Like, the biggest noticeable difference is the rear sight. Let's go ahead and walk up over that way. I'll grab my other number 4 Mark 1. I'll lay them side by side and we'll take a look at them. All right, new camera, new sound. So, new microphone, etc., etc. Things are going to be a little bit different, but I wanted one that I could actually see the screen on so I know how to compare. So, top one is my number 4 Mark 1. Bottom one is my buddy's number 4 Mark 1. Immediately, I'm noticing that my bolt handle has a hole in it, whereas his does not. I'm not sure if that was done, well, this area is probably done as a weight-saving option, and this area is probably done because they realized it didn't save that much weight, and they didn't have to worry about it. This is the rear sight on mine. Very literally just a little 2-piece aperture, flips back and forth, and my buddy has the far more complex rear sight aperture that, you know, can graduate out to, what's the distance? 1,200, 1,300 meters on that. Everything else should be the same. Looks like bluing and finish on his receiver is in rougher shape than the finish on mine. I'm not sure if mine was redone at one point or another. I am noticing that the barrel bands are sharing a common theme. Mine is also a little bit loose, but his is like very loose. His also has a couple of holes in it and some pitting and rust and wear. Definitely seen hard times on that one. I'm noticing at the front end, our front barrel band here has some extremely crude welding to it, whereas mine does not have near as crude of welding. Our front sight hood, or front sight protective wings, mine is all one piece, and his looks like 3 pieces that have been stuck together. We have one general piece that loops around, and then we have 2 inserts on either end. And then we have the actual front sight material itself. Both of ours have the same kind of finish in several spots of the rifle, meaning just a little bit of black paint as opposed to like a blued metal finish. It also looks like this one right here took a bit of fire damage at one point or another. I also want to point out the absolutely gorgeous stock on this thing. This thing has like a tiger striping on it, whereas mine is just like a dark redwood. I think they're both beautiful. Obviously, mine does not have the checkered or serrated upper handguard, whereas his does, but besides that, they're very similar. Both got brass butt pads. They're both number 4 Mark 1s, jammed in 303. Looks like his is, like I said, the finish on his is a lot worse for the wear than mine is. Each of them has nothing on the barrel band, or not barrel band, receiver band, or whatever it is that you want to call that, but besides that, it looks like he has a little bit of marks right there. I have no idea what that is. I'm pretty sure that's some kind of Army adoption mark or inspection mark or something like that. Looks like his magazine has better finish than mine does, though. I'm willing to bet that's not the original magazine on this rifle, because the rest of the rifle looks pretty rough. Alright, well, because I do not feel like walking back out there, I'm just going to end the video right here. This was a very interesting look at a rifle that is different than the one that I'm used to. I've been wanting to check out another number 4 Mark 1 for quite some time, just never got around to it, never got my hands on one. After ammo got scarce, I stopped looking, but my buddy had one and said, hey, you want to check it out? Here you go, have fun. So I said, all right, I'll take you up on that, and now I got to check them out, compare them side by side. There's definitely some very distinct differences between the two. The stock on my buddy's is definitely, it's smoother, it's cleaner, it feels a hell of a lot better than the stock on my very crudely made number 4 Mark 1. So, thanks for watching, folks. Like the video, subscribe, share. Description down below has a link to all sorts of different things. And besides that, I don't really know how else to end this video, so I'm just going to say, hey, Thanks for watching. Go off, have yourself a fantastic day. I wish I had more 303 British ammunition, but my supply is very limited, and once the supplier I have runs out, then yeah, it's gonna be difficult finding 303 British for a little while until actual factory producing demand starts to pick up and deliver upon the massive demand that is there now. I remember there was a point in time where I could pick up 303 British ammunition for cheaper than 54 rimmed. That was a beautiful time, and I regret not stockpiling that stuff. Anyway, folks, like I said, go off, have a fantastic day. Thanks for watching. Since I've done this. Bonnie and Clyde be damned. The poor man's Garen. Shame that bolt action shotguns aren't more mainstream.